Yeah, how do you put someone in jail and you don't even name the clients? That sounds kind of insane. There was a lot of people that met with him and did business with him and traveled with him after he was arrested.
Names, last names, area codes, okay. Who created this book?
We're so grateful to be joined by Jeffrey Epstein survivor Annie Farmer. Annie, thank you so much for taking the time to come back on the show.
Epstein tried to invite Joe Rogan to his island, but Joe Rogan refused. Long before any files were released, billionaires, government officials, tech CEOs, and celebrities were spending time with Jeffrey Epstein. But Joe Rogan always felt that something was not right. Now, after details came out about Epstein's secret black book and what happened on his Lolita Express private plane, Joe Rogan is speaking about everything that the FBI failed to redact in the Epstein files.
People have an understanding of how things are really working than ever before.
Yeah.
Like this Epstein file thing, right? That was a big eye-opener for a lot of people. When you see how many people after 2008, after he was arrested, after he went to jail, were actively taking money from him. MIT took money from him and tried to hide it and said to make sure that any donations from Jeffrey are listed as anonymous. So
Wow.
you find out like people are like they referred to him as Voldemort, like you couldn't say his name.
Wow.
There was a lot of people that met with him and did business with him and traveled with him after he was arrested, after he went to jail.
Do you spend a lot of time reading them?
No, I try not to. I try to have experts come on. I try to read. You can't change it.
Yeah.
And it'll with your head.
Yeah, it's
like
toxic.
You will really get.
It'll stick with and I know I've tried not to.
Yeah.
In a recent episode of his show, Joe Rogan said that in 2017, one of his guests, Lawrence Krauss, a theoretical physicist, tried to introduce him to Jeffrey Epstein. This was also mentioned in the recent file release. One email between Epstein and Krauss shows that Epstein wanted an introduction to Rogan. He said he thought Rogan was funny. The email reads, "It is wild, like Damascus. How are things? I saw you did the Joe Rogan show. Can you introduce me? I think he's funny." Krauss contacted Rogan, but Rogan was not interested. Epstein then followed up and said, if he wants, Rogan can have dinner with Woody Allen on Friday. Later, Krauss replied, "Sorry about Rogan so far. He seems more timid than I would have thought." At that time, Epstein had already been convicted on sexual charges. Even so, he continued socializing with some of the most powerful people in the world. He was still emailing and meeting people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Prince Andrew, and Jay-Z. Joe felt that something was wrong. He said that Alex Jones had talked about Epstein years earlier and warned that something serious was happening. According to Joe, Alex Jones claimed to know about activities on Epstein's island and private plane long before the conviction and before the files were released.
Going.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm in the files for not going. Jeffrey Epstein was trying to meet with me.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
I'm like, no, thanks.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad?
Yeah, but I would have never went anyway. It's like, it's not even a possibility that I would ever went.
But
especially after I Googled him. I was like, what the f are you talking about? This was like 2017. One of my guests was trying to get me to meet him. I was like, you high? Like, what the f are you talking about?
For what reason would you? What would be
if I was a guy who was like sucking up to the rich and powerful? If I was really interested in hanging out with rich and powerful people,
you know, it's crazy. That's so crazy. But yeah, some people
get intoxicated by being in a circle of rich and powerful people, even if they're not like they don't even have any ambitions of being one of those people. They just want to be around them. They want to be around Nobel Prize winners. And because this guy what he was doing was very clever in that he was getting all of these very powerful and very respected people together. Yeah. And you would figure like, oh, it's
if that
safe.
Guy's there, if that lady's
Clinton's
there.
Here. This is fine.
Right.
Clinton's here. How could this be bad? Yeah. Look, it's Steven Pinker. How could this be bad? Yeah. You know, he's a genius. Like, and so you would go, I would imagine, you would go to these, because there's people that went to these, like he had parties in New York, like he brought in celebrities and comedians. Didn't Louis Black get invited to one of those? I think he's talked about it. I know Chelsea Handler went to one of them. It's like he would bring all these people in, and he'd like to be around famous people and entertainers and a lot of intellectuals and professors. And Noam Chomsky was famously deeply involved.
Joe said that the reason he stayed away was because of what Alex Jones had told him years before. Alex Jones kept saying that something dark was happening on Epstein's island. He claimed it was not just a place where rich people partied, but a place where powerful people were being compromised. According to Alex, Jeffrey Epstein collected blackmail material by inviting powerful people to his island, drugging them, and filming them in compromising situations. By 2017, Epstein had already been convicted of serious sexual crimes. So the fact that billionaires like Bill Gates were still meeting him raised many questions.
Seems very dark.
Very dark.
Because it seems like it was this bizarre blackmail influence thing that was going on for a long time.
For so long.
A long time.
Through different administrations. That's what's so unbelievable about it.
It's
how long it was going on.
This part of the story becomes even darker. Why was Epstein collecting blackmail material, and how did he get access to such powerful people? Becoming close to the Saudi royal family and the British royal family is not easy. President Bill Clinton was also photographed with Epstein. Having access to these powerful circles makes some people believe that Epstein was placed there for a reason. The question is who put him there. Joe Rogan believes it is possible that Epstein was working as an asset for a foreign government. He suggests that Epstein's role may have been to collect blackmail material, while others funded his lifestyle, including his private jets, private island, and properties around the world. Many people still wonder how Epstein could afford all of it.
Let me just get real and say,
if I gun to your head, what do you think your best assessment of what Epstein, who was Epstein, who was he working for?
well, I don't know, right? So I'm just guessing. Everybody wants to say he was working for the Mossad. He very well could have been. He could have been working for the CIA. He could have been a guy who was on his own, but also working with them, right? Like a guy that they used, but they never fully endorsed.
Like an asset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a guy who could move money around.
Right.
He definitely
Good at laundering money.
the moving money around stuff was very weird because he had money through no way that anybody could ever explain.
Yeah.
He had an enormous amount of money through no way that nobody could ever explain. Which, if you're state funded, you're funded by Israel, and Israel's funded by America, and there's also NGOs and nonprofits, and there's ways to move money around where you can give this guy money.
Yeah.
So he was like Weinstein, who is an economist, right? Weinstein's a legitimate mathematician.
Eric?
Yeah. So when Eric met him, his first inclination was he was a fraud.
He's a construct.
Yeah, a construct. And did he tell you the whole story about the girl sitting on his lap?
Yep.
So Epstein, while he's meeting with Eric Weinstein for the first time, has a beautiful girl sitting on his lap, and a woman, I shouldn't say girl. He said she was like in her 20s, and she's sitting on his lap, and he's bouncing around, so they're juggling around.
While he's asking math questions.
Yeah, talking serious. So he was obviously nerd fishing. He was fishing for nerds, and I think he caught a lot of nerds in that net. There's a lot of those
100%.
guys that wound up going to that island. They probably thought, this is great. We get to party.
Information was said to be written in Epstein's secret black book. He reportedly wrote down names, dates, and phone numbers of people who visited his island, along with a list of victims. There was said to be only one copy of this book. After his conviction, the book could not be found. Then in 2009, the FBI discovered that someone online was claiming to have it and wanted to sell it. A sting operation was organized, and the video was later included in a file release. The 2009 video showed Epstein's former Palm Beach house manager, Alfredo Rodriguez, trying to sell a small black book of addresses and phone numbers. He claimed it included powerful people and victims connected to Epstein. In the same footage, Rodriguez claimed that Ghislaine Maxwell kept a database of girls, including alleged explicit images. This database has never been recovered. Ghislaine Maxwell has refused to cooperate with the FBI even after Epstein's death. This raises the question of what or who she might be afraid of.
Names, last names, area codes, okay? Who created this book? Epstein himself. This book was made by Epstein?
This is a video of an FBI sting operation with Jeffrey Epstein's former house manager and an undercover FBI employee from 2009. The Palm Beach house manager, Alfredo Rodriguez, believes he is selling Epstein's address book to someone representing a lawyer of Epstein's victims.
You will see a lot of important people here.
He claims that the book contains contacts of powerful people, as well as Epstein's victims.
So those are mostly underage girls, the numbers? They were very young.
A source familiar with the case confirmed the video shows the sting operation, which court documents show happened 2 years after the FBI demanded that Rodriguez turn over any Epstein documents. Instead, court documents say he kept the address book and tried to sell it for $50,000. In the occasionally redacted 45-minute video of the meeting, Rodriguez implicates Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's close associate, who's now serving a 20-year sentence for of minors.
Ghislaine Maxwell was his former companion, a very powerful lady from England. She would go to the former Eastern countries in Europe and find girls for Epstein. And I knew that because I went with my wife.
Rodriguez also claims that Maxwell kept a computer database of girls, something he said he saw briefly once.
What kind of pictures? Naked girls from Sweden, from Romania, from Czechoslovakia, from Brazil, from
All
Colombia.
minors? All young girls?
Very young, very young.
Like when you say very young, how young are we talking?
16, 17. The teenagers, they have braces. Most.
Rodriguez provided no evidence to support the existence of the database.
Count it. And while you're
The video, released as part of the recent trove of Epstein documents, abruptly ends after the agent hands Rodriguez a bag of cash and says he will call the lawyer.
It was not only Epstein's island where these events took place. His private jet, known as the Leda Express, was also involved. According to victim testimonies, Epstein often kept young girls with him on the plane while traveling. Witnesses said that the pilots, crew members, and even passengers saw what was happening, but they could not report it. They remained silent and did not take action. About the plane were also mentioned in the latest file release. The documents described how Epstein used the jet to fly guests across the country and internationally. The plane appears many times in flight logs and investigative records. In one email dated January 7, 2020 with the subject line Repin Flight Records, it stated that Donald Trump was listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996. The email claims that on at least 4 of those flights, Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. The document reportedly states that on one flight in 1993, the only listed passengers were Epstein and Trump. On another flight, 3 passengers were listed: Epstein, Trump, and a 20-year-old girl, with the rest of that line redacted. It is important to note that being listed on flight logs does not prove wrongdoing. The records show travel and association, not criminal charges. However, the presence of these names in official logs has led many people to question why President Trump was traveling with Epstein. Recently, the Department of Justice released the names of 6 more billionaires connected to Epstein. These names had previously been redacted. They were released only after senators asked the DOJ to unredact them. Many people are asking how many more names are still hidden and why the DOJ is hesitant to release everything. One tweet said, "Instead of redacting the victims' names as they requested, the DOJ redacted the predators' names. They were supposed to protect victims, but they protected predators." Another tweet said, "I don't think the DOJ is concerned about protecting the victims. They are, however, very concerned about protecting some of the predators because they are high-ranking and wealthy people with political pull. It's the most ass-backwards and corrupt cover-up in history."
Congressman Massey and I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files. We spent about 2 hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted. In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massey and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikoladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. Now, my question is, why did it take Thomas Massie and me going to the Justice Department to get these 6 men's identities to become public? And if we found 6 men that they were hiding in 2 hours, imagine how many men they are covering up for in those 3 million files.
Joe also discussed this on his podcast. He said it seems suspicious that no one on Epstein's client list has been prosecuted. He claimed that the names are known and that the FBI has video evidence. He mentioned that the 3 million files released are only about 20% of what the FBI has. Epstein's Black Book was recovered in 2009, but no one listed in it has been convicted or even put on trial. Some people believe this is because the individuals involved are very powerful and well-connected. There are also reports claiming that Epstein worked for MSAD or other intelligence networks. However, there is no publicly verified evidence proving that he worked for any intelligence agency. These claims remain unproven allegations that continue to circulate online and in the media.
But yeah, I think the public will be rightly frustrated if no one is prosecuted for the Epstein client list, no one at all. Which, no one, like at least, I don't know, the top 5 or something, like some number. There should at least be an attempted prosecution of the worst offenders.
Well, particularly if Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail for trafficking.
Yes.
Because, trafficking
that means occurred.
Right. So she's in jail for it.
Yes.
So
who were the clients?
Yeah. Yeah, how do you put someone in jail and you don't even name the clients? That sounds kind of insane.
I think, yes, it would. Yes, because
just stunning that they've been able to hold it back for so long. It's really kind of amazing.
Yes.
Like when people say that people can't keep secrets, what the f are you talking about? Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of these things are not like it's common knowledge, but we don't actually have the proof.
Right.
So the proof is there. I mean, there's lots of videos. Yeah, there's lots. I mean, the dude is like a mountain of whenever they raided Epstein's place, there would have been like a mountain of evidence. Where is that mountain?
Right. What'd you do with it?
Yes. Like who took possession of the evidence?
Yeah.
Specifically.
Right.
The individuals.
Where are the tapes?
So far, the main consequence has been public criticism. Peter Mandelson, the UK ambassador to the United States, lost his position after emails showed that he had closer ties to Epstein than he first admitted. Prince Andrew also faced serious allegations. Virginia Roberts-Giuffre claimed that she was trafficked by Epstein and forced to have relations with Andrew when she was 17. Prince Andrew has denied these allegations. However, the situation led to major consequences. His brother, King Charles, removed his honorary military roles and royal patronages, and Prince Andrew stepped back from public royal duties.
From disturbing photos of the former Prince Andrew to his alleged sharing of government documents with convicted senator Jeffrey Epstein, the fallout from the Epstein files once again putting the British royal family into turmoil. Andrew has denied all wrongdoing, but the pressure is now ramping up on the royals to do and say more about their disgraced relative. The Crown, under fire.
Charles, how long have you known about Andrew and Epstein?
From King Charles to Prince William, shouted at in Saudi Arabia.
To what extent do you think the royal family has done enough around the Andrew and Epstein issue?
ITV also capturing Queen Camilla getting tough questions too.
Do you have a message for Epstein's victims, Your Majesty?
We've never actually seen other members of the royal family heckled to the extent that we have in the last few days.
Epstein is dead, but Ghislaine Maxwell is still alive and has refused to cooperate. Victims have testified that she helped Epstein and was involved in the abuse, but many people feel that justice is still incomplete.
as her lawyer continues to press for clemency in exchange for her testimony, something President Trump has continually declined to rule out. How does this all make you feel?
It's honestly very disturbing to see these images of her and have her be looked at as someone who could potentially be providing any kind of information in this case. I mean, she has refused over and over to cooperate with the investigation. She's refused to she doesn't have any empathy or has not expressed any empathy or remorse to her victims. So I think it's highly problematic that anyone would consider negotiating with a serious criminal like this. And I think it would just really be indicative of guilt in some way, because we know that she is not a credible source of information.
And you say to her victims, as you know, she has repeatedly said that she had no involvement directly with actually.
Yeah, I can speak, very personally to the fact that that's not true. She was towards me. And there's so many other crimes that she committed that she wasn't even prosecuted for. There were 4 of us that testified at her trial, but I have now met so many women who say it was because of Ghislaine Maxwell that I ended up being, sometimes for years, and that she was at times involved in that herself. So she was a very central figure in this system, and her efforts to minimize her role have not been effective. We've seen in the files that have been released already several places where the emails she sent are contradictory to things she said on the record before.
Recently, Ghislaine Maxwell was called to testify again, but she refused to answer questions. If Epstein was truly acting alone, many people wonder why Ghislaine is afraid to speak.
Ms. Maxwell, were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the 5th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the 5th Amendment against self-incrimination. Ms. Maxwell, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
I invoke my 5th Amendment right to silence.
If you want deeper breakdowns of the files, the timelines, and what is verified versus what is speculation, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. I will continue separating fact from rumor and explaining what the documents actually show. Share your thoughts. Do you believe this is a failure of the justice system, or do you think there is something more happening behind the scenes?